Anomalies galore. All right. That finishes the segment of the old maps. My God, we're already 36 minutes in. So, for next reference, we're going to look at some StarForts from the Tartarian area. And this is a great one to start with because as we zoom in, you will notice the scale of this quote unquote supposed bastion fort that they call them. And this is so old and eroded and buried and stuff, right? Decayed. And look at this. This is like a church. This is underground barracks. Like this is a building of several stories, and you can see all the rooms underneath, and that it actually is 2 or 3 stories tall, because look at the size of this full church here on top of what is a mega complex. And that at one point this was all filled with water, and here's the channel in. Either the moat or the canal in, or part of the connecting Great Wall of StarForts, Great Wall of Tartaria, as I dub it. And what am I talking about? We are talking about this right here is a massive wall of StarFort bastions. And it is the Great Wall of Tartaria because it literally runs from Crimea, Little Tartaria, across Ukraine and across Siberia for, I believe, around 1,000 miles, connecting to, at that point, what was called the Sea of Tartaria. And we are going to play shout out to Olaf the Svirker and his work of finding and identifying this site right here and the Great Wall of Tartaria that we've confirmed, looked on Google Maps a bunch, found some more of it, and
defensive structures, fortifications, cradles.
All right, pause it right here. So this is the River Dnieper going up. This is literally where the war in Ukraine right now is. And this right here is one area of this Great Wall of StarForts.
It's because they exist near almost every single body of water on this planet. And we have...
All right, gonna pause that there. And shout out to Olaf for doing the real research, digging into it. And he is Russian Scottish, I believe, and that he's fully fluent in the Russian language, both speaking and reading, and has done many translations looking into this Tartarian lost empire, the old maps, the cathedrals, and the StarForts, and tracking down this wall of StarForts and bastion, just a wall of bastion with a canal along it, and that a lot of these StarForts he's finding along this wall, they're not even documented. A lot of them don't even have official history in it, I believe. Well, we'll play a couple more minutes here. I believe he brings up a couple that he finds just in farmers' fields that don't even have a date, and that, just for reference one more time, that underneath the soil, this is what most likely all of them exist as. These massive multi-story buildings, many of them megalithic stone, many of them brick. Here you got another building on top, a 2-story crashed down building, most likely cathedral or church, and all the outer layers too, right? So it's like that looks like a building. Are these buildings? Like, yeah, there's doorways in there. There's probably underground it's probably even bigger. It probably goes down a couple more stories than what we even see, with passageways, rooms, and God knows what else. And this is just one, and there's literally thousands upon thousands of them around the world, and most likely thousands. We've definitely documented hundreds just along this Great Wall here that Olaf is showing, and that these are the bastions just as large as you saw there. And this is probably buried and underground several stories. Like, look, those are oil derricks just for scale of size. And it goes along, and there's no history of who built this wall. There's none whatsoever, and it's evidence of a lost Tartarian civilization and empire. Again, here's another one buried. You can see the 2-3 layers. You can see the size of these massive greenhouses to the left, and this guy's flying from above the glider on a hilltop, and just massive scale, buried, no history, just a giant mystery that we are trying to uncover. And all right, we'll play a couple more minutes of Olaf.
As you can see, nothing but trees, but a massive circle, which is almost perfect. And I don't know about you, but absolutely giant wall. And that becomes obvious when we see structures such as this.
All right, so pausing it here again, you can clearly see the wall, the bastion sticking out here, and that as he's going to scroll up, the bastions continue just like that picture I showed
the defensive line,
earlier, and
ancient defensive line.
it literally goes
that
for
is
hundreds,
StarFort
if
petal,
not
just on
1,000
a
miles.
massive scale, and it carries all the way up, as you can see.
Probably 1,000 miles, at least 500 that me and Campbell mapped a few years ago. And again, you can just see the symmetry of these bastions as he continues on.
See here, there's another. Some of them are more visible than others. There's another, and another, and this was created in a time without tooling, without machinery, without electric batteries or DeWalt drills or diggers or dumpers or skid steers. There's another.
Yes, with the irrigation aspect, there was usually a canal that went along right next to it or behind it for a lot of the sections that me and Campbell had said.
Mile after mile after mile, and another, and another, and it carries on this way.
Again, you can see going through Google Earth, he is able to find and track these bastion walls
until we hit the next star fortress. Which, if we follow this up, we'll keep following it. There's another petal, and another, and we see strange structures all the way. But when the people in charge of history lie to us and tell us tales, we can't be quite sure what we're looking at, other than when we see common sense objects such as this. That is very clearly some massive ancient earthen ramparts. Whether or not these structures at the side yet were anything, we cannot determine, but we do not. And even more.
So now he's moved on to a segment even more visible, and that you can see the double wall. And it, like, this is on a scale the same as the Great Wall of China, if not larger, and I believe it is larger.
Longer. Look how perfect the geometry of these massive walls are. If anybody can point me to a wall that compares to this in modern times, other than the Kitai wall in China, and again, even then, it sort of pales in comparison. But
quite possible.
Just look at the scale of this. Petal after petal after petal, and these structures are perfect. And they join all these StarForts up. Now, bear in mind, look, petal, 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 it carries on. There is no modern explanation for these structures whatsoever, especially not on this scale.
Then again, now in a modern township where the fort is still somewhat maintained with a little bit of history, but most likely buried, as you see here, the outer ramparts, this leftover outer rampart area. So at one point, that all would have been those petals with moats and connected in with this wall, bastion wall.
Here we have, what is this? Oh, it's not, because it's no showing us.
Another one
But here we have
doesn't even
another
have a
star
name.
fortress that sits along this massive wall, or a redoubt, or you call it what you want. 1,000 tons,
More of
100,000
these
tons with diggers, people with
the
shovels.
wall just it
And
goes
there's
on
loads of soil.
forever.
There's rocks in here. I was a landscaper for 10
Much
years of my
love,
life.
Daniel.
This is an
Much
impossible
love,
location
Mike.
with the advanced technology. We could
Thanks for
not do it.
stopping in.
Even keeping a line that perfect would be impossible. And yet,
Right,
mainstream
like
historians
like
believe us.
how like we just alone in watching what Olaf has shown here is probably a couple hundred kilometers so far, and the scale and length is just how the heck in ancient times, with what we're told, could hunter gatherers or savage raiders, and like it's ridiculous. And no,
To believe that men with shovels and
a horde,
no very good shovels
Mongolian
by
horde.
by modern day standards either created this. And what we can see here, if we follow this wall along as it cuts off, is the remains of yet another massive fortress, which history.
Oh,
And again,
more
look
of
at
the
this
walls. Look
massive
at that.
wall, this absolutely perfect wall in a barren landscape. A barren landscape that for some.
Right, like there you can actually see what it might be made of still. Like sucks this is all in a war zone because this really needs to be investigated. This section is through Siberia and I guess mid Russia, where it also goes all the way from the Black Sea through or from Crimea through Ukraine into Russia and across Russia into the Arctic or the Siberian Ocean or Sea, whatever it's called nowadays. Like, I'm skipping ahead here because it's getting late, running out of time. Got to be up work in the morning, showing more canals, showing more ramparts. It literally goes on for what seems like forever, again, again. Connects to another star fort, another town. Keeps going again, again, again. Another star fort again, again. Another star fort. And like these things were massive and they're just buried and claimed to be what everybody built from the 1700s back because it's just how they fought. No, it's something much more ancient and it is covered up. So, one last time, the reference pictures of from above, you can see like it literally goes on the scale, absolutely massive. Those are oil derricks. Look at how large it is. And this one's half buried and so huge. Those are structures. Those are structures. It's massive, massive macro structure. And more here. Again, this guy still mostly buried. Like, these are the smaller ones. That's massive terraforming. How did they make hundreds of them along this wall that ran across a continent? And here we can see the remnants of what is like leftovers in the modern day times of what they were building. And we do not build like this anymore. It's literally abandoned. This castle looks like it's still maintained, but the rest of the infrastructure filled in from what it was originally, and very little is built like that these days anymore. Asia, throughout India, throughout China, throughout Vietnam, throughout Burma, throughout all of the areas. Not sure what the heck that is. Gonna have to look into that. That maybe an old star fort that is been. I don't even know. All right. Again, the domes, the onion domes of the area that was called Tartaria, and they are giant resonating devices. And this is the remnants and the leftovers of a former worldwide civilization that there was some sort of reset. There was a cataclysm and a conquering and a cultural genocide. But here, still in Burma, right? Gold. This is all gold. Look at these fractal ray antennas. Like, just absolutely insane. A bell or bells, ring and resonance antennas. So these still covered in gold. So at one point, was all of this covered in gold? Most likely. Fractal ray antenna. And then you've got what's called the Gothic style churches. No, they're also these massive fractal ray antennas. What the heck are they? Are they a demigod technology or God's level technology? Potentially. Do they transmute spiritual energy? Potentially. Not sure. I do have theories though. And why do we see the exact same style architecture around the world? Here in the Himalayas, we have these massive star towers. What the heck were they? Who built them? Who would have put the time in to build all of this in that sort of time period? And why? Like, that's original. False idols, I'm guessing, but I don't know. Could be wrong. Don't want to offend anybody. And then there's this massive wall that's, I believe, also the same size or larger than the Great Wall of China, and it is in India. And yeah, they're all over.
Crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just burning.